This industry is estimated to be worth 4 billion rand in revenue annually, and it's growing by 10%. That's right. Ever since 2011, the online gambling industry was legalized, and there's been controls that are put in place for players to be able to, using 200 verified websites, play a multitude of games. Now, in this environment, in this industry, as much as there is definitely some positives and some revenue being pumped into the economy that can be used to build hospitals, roads, etc., there's also a lot of dangers. And the dangers are closer to home than you think, because children are also being pushed down a online gambling type of an environment, according to us, through in-app modified or in-app purchases on games. And we're going to share with you how we feel that it's a little bit of online gambling that is being indoctrinated in our kids. Next to me, as always, Anna Marie Meyer.
Thank you.
Let's get into this exciting topic and let's unpack it together. Let's go. You're a phenomenal mom. You've got 2 boys. They are successful in every way.
But teenagers at a point.
Teenagers at a point.
And I ran into that where obviously gaming becomes part of a child's life at a certain point in their life. So we allowed him for about a year, the youngest one. Started playing and we had rules. And obviously at a certain point, my credit card details were inserted and removed every time. Soon realizing that he knows my credit card details offhand. So it's just so easy. And never he broke the rule until one night. And then suddenly those SMSs came through. And as the SMSs came through, I realized, obviously only realizing that in the morning, and it started becoming an addiction. Then I realized with any possible way they would get hold of those skins, it's called, or a gun or something they buy on these platforms. And it gets expensive. It's really 100 Rand and a 50 Rand. And that was always the comment, but it's only a 50 Rand. But it ended up to be like a 300 Rand or a 400 Rand per month. And then we stopped it. But is it easy for any person or everyone just to get out of it? I doubt.
I doubt, because you're talking about a chemical release. The
Endorphins.
chemicals, endorphins, and that's an instant gratification that, okay, boom, I've got this gun, now I can go and take on this community of baddies because I've got a different skin. And then there's, the whole system is set up that way, including gambling, to be able to give, but then take more. Because my favorite saying out of casino is, the house always wins. That's how it's set up. It's a business. It needs to make money to pay overheads, to pay, etc. And, diving out of the in-app purchases, which is very dangerous. I'm glad I didn't grow up, in that era. We went outside and threw rocks.
And it's a slope. It's a slope. You go down the slope. And we were lucky enough to get out of that emotions within a matter of 3 months. But some parents don't get out of that with their kids. And as they grow older, they just carry on more and more and they start spending their own money. It's a huge industry.
I think that the biggest problem for me, because I'm anti-gambling. I don't like it.
I'm anti.
I work extremely hard, for the income that I generate.
Just to give it like that.
It's too much of a risk. So for me, the online gambling, I think convenience is where the danger lies. Because in the past, I remember there was a casino next to the airport. What is it called? Caesar's Palace.
Yes,
Caesar's
or
Palace.
Empress
Or
or
Empress
something.
Palace. Empress Palace. So in the past, I had to, with a homie, climb in a car who loved roulette. I'm like, no problem. We can go and I can have a drink or whatever and have some supper, have some food at the establishment. You'd have to get in your car, drive a half an hour or 45 minutes, do the actual gambling, then get in your car, drive another 45 minutes and come home. Nowadays, you just switch on your computer. You've got a choice of 200 local websites to choose from, and who knows how many millions of websites that are international not regulated. The government doesn't oversee and make sure that they are compliant and that your credit card details and everything is safe. It's just too convenient. And that's why I feel that it's a big problem, and it's a problem that is sort of swept under the carpet because there are so many people that suffer from this and don't speak about it because it's not a visible thing. When you go home after work, you go home, you cook food, you open your computer, bam, it's convenient, it's easy.
Yeah, you don't need to get up, get dressed, go somewhere. If you can't sleep at night, you can open, and that's the same that happened with the kids on the gaming. They can't sleep, they wake up, they go right through the night. And this is exactly, because I can take this wherever I want.
Absolutely. And you don't even need this. I mean, you just need off camera. I've got a cell phone. I've got 200 WhatsApps at the moment, but I've also got 200
gambling
certified
sites.
websites that I can go and visit now, give my credit card details, and start playing.
It's sad, and I do know a lot of people that's addicted to gambling. Adults not realizing, and at a certain point start admitting, I've got a problem, but there's no help.
So I think there is. So let's dive into some of the solutions. Start off with the tighter regulations.
Definitely. On tighter regulations, I just think that the government can introduce stricter regulations on the online gambling to minimize the negative effects of the young people. For instance, they can prohibit certain forms of gambling, online gambling, or require gambling websites to track it, because they don't.
Number 2, public awareness campaigns. Now, in the beginning of the episode, we said that this is worth 4 billion rand annually, and it's growing 10%. I feel as government, they need to come in and strong arm these people and say, listen, X amount of your income needs to go towards awareness, and make it an absolute must. When you buy cigarettes, I used to smoke during the time when on a box you used to, I don't know if you remember, if it still happens, I don't know if it happens, that black lung, I used to open the cigarette and look at it, I'm like, does my lung look like that? And then eventually that put me off cigarettes. I don't smoke anymore. So they need to allocate a certain amount of budget towards making people aware that gambling is risky. It can ruin marriages. It can ruin relationships. It can destroy families. Need to be allocated towards that.
Support services.
Yes.
The government can provide support services for young people who are struggling with gambling addiction. This can include counseling, because that is something. And yes, there's a platform, there's a toll-free number that you can call. But I don't think it's visible enough.
Number 4, education. From school level, we need to teach our children and make them aware of the dangers of gambling, make them aware of the dangers of being addicted to a game, being addicted to in-app purchases.
It's an addiction.
It's an addiction. Make them aware, and also give them the flip side, how you can control it from school level.
Then, parental control.
Most important.
Parents need to know and understand what the kids do and what websites they do access on their cell phones. While they're still living in my home, it's my rules. And I think nowadays it's just too easy for us as parents to say, there's money, there's your phone, be on the side. Unfortunately, you can only bring them up to a certain point, and you need to be strict at that point.
100%. Financial institutions. I've got an idea that, we came up with a team where the financial institutions need to, at one or other stage, say, okay, we notice that you have been giving 30, 40, 50%, 60, sometimes 100% of your income towards this online gambling site. Everything else is regulated. You may not spend more than 30% of your income towards a house. It's regulated. You may not spend more than 25% of your income towards a car. It's regulated. Where's the regulation on the gambling community?
I've almost got to admit to something that's going to be the first point.
Absolutely.
Because that is definitely something that can be implemented. They can see on the bank statements, they've got trackers to check every single thing going on your bank statement. And I agree, I think that should be number 1.
If we make a number, the number is X percentage, and you exceed that, sorry, transaction declined. I know I'm going to get some hate for this, but I believe that long term, that can manage the problem. We don't want to kill an industry. That's the last thing we want to do. But we want to control the way that an industry operates to the point where it's not dangerous for the user.
On my banking app, I can say this is the amount I spend on food, on pets, on vehicles, on insurances, and I can set it. And it immediately warns me when I'm overspending. If I'm overspending on pets, it warns me that you're overspending. So then you either need to increase. So if my app can do that, we can definitely do that.
Absolutely. I really hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please leave us a comment as well as the like button.
And I did enjoy it. And please subscribe to our channel and ring the bell.
Thank you, take care, and have a great day. Bye-bye.